Welcome back to ThinkTech. I'm Jay Fidell. Here it is on a Thursday afternoon, and we're going to interview one of our hosts. We don't do that normally, but today we are. Lillian Cumic. She's the host of a Vegan World, and she's been hosting that for some time. And she brings nutrition, may I say, that's a play on words. She brings nutrition because she's taken it upon herself to write a book about her favorite topic, that is veganism. And the book is called Hawaii, a Vegan Paradise, and it's got a lot of recipes inside. And we're going to talk to her today to find out what made her do this. Hi, Lillian.
Aloha, Jay. Thank you so much for the awesome introduction. Wonderful to be on your show. And I must say, I'm glad this time I am prepared to be on your show and not ambushed and mic'd up like the first time I met you back in the green studio.
Yeah, which we included in the foreword. I wrote a foreword for your book. It's right there. And it's worth the price of eggs right there, just to read my foreword, I must say.
It is. And what an honor, I must say, Jay, to have you not also as part of, the ThinkTech team and my one of my favorite people here in Hawaii, but to have you do the foreword for me is so awesome. And I thank you so very much.
Well, let's talk about the book. You live in veganism. I think you've lived in veganism for a long time. You've lived in Europe, you lived in Japan a long time, you lived in Australia, and somewhere along the trajectory there, you got involved in veganism. When and why, Lillian?
I actually grew up as a vegetarian. My parents don't know why or how that came about because neither of them are vegetarians or, far from being vegan. So how that happened, I don't know. I naturally was vegetarian, and all my life, the only thing that I did eat that was animal based was dairy products, milk and cheese, stuff like that, which I gave up 14 years ago to become fully vegan. It was a natural process. I didn't think about it. I just woke up one day and realized that I didn't need it anymore. I was working in the food industry in Japan as a chef. I am by trade a vegan chef. So it was very easy for me to veganize my favorite foods. And the very first thing I did when I became vegan 14 years ago was learned how to make vegan cheeses.
I've tasted some of your vegan cheeses. You've brought them to the studio for us, and I must say they're really, really delicious. I love cheeses, and I like vegan cheeses just as well or better. But I want to know, just so that people understand what veganism is, and probably the better way to define it is to say what it isn't. What is excluded from vegan meals?
A vegan will not consume any animal products whatsoever. No meat, no fish, no dairy, no honey. Even byproducts, things like honey, are a big no-no on a vegan diet. And it's so much easier to do these days. People get freaked out at the word vegan when you use the word vegan, but honestly, when you live in a place like America or a place like Hawaii, very blessed to be here, we have so many options. Just going back to the cheese, I mean, you walk into a supermarket these days, you're going to see an array of plant-based cheeses that you would swear are the real thing. So it's quite accessible and easy to do these days.
Well, so what one of my favorite. Okay, we know that milk products are out, and meat is out. And what about fish? Is fish out?
So no seafood at all. No chicken, no white meat, no fish, no seafood of any kind. We do, however, really incorporate a lot of seaweed, sea vegetables into our diet, very high in iron, something that's very important if you're on a vegan diet. And given my background, I lived in Japan in a city called Sendai for 30 years. So you will see my Japanese influence throughout the book, Hawaii, a Vegan Paradise. And there's, when you live in Japan for that long, you learn to eat things that you really wouldn't think about before. Seaweed is one of those things that brings so much umami flavors to food. And in the book, you'll see that I do teach you how to get that umami flavor into dishes that I think people miss when they eat vegan food. So I think my book stands out in the fact that the food actually tastes really good.
I know. 30 years in Japan.
Mhm.
How could that actually be, Lillian, when you're 19? How I can't do the math on it. It must be
Oh.
the vegan food that makes you look that way.
Stop it. Flattery will get you everywhere these days. Well, the truth is, I am going to be 50. I'm turning 50 in
Oh,
January, so in a couple of years. And I will tell you now, without any doubt, every vegan I meet does tend to look a lot younger than they actually are. So maybe there is something to be said of the vegan diet in
oh,
regards to your
certainly is.
health, the way you feel, the way you look, the white in your eyes, very clear skin. There are a lot of things that change when you become vegan. And when I transitioned from, being a vegetarian all my life to a fully plant-based diet, I noticed immediately those subtle changes. So if I could give advice or, a tip to anyone who is thinking about starting or just, delving into some kind of vegan diet, just try experimenting with alternatives. If you love cheese and milk, go to a supermarket, try some of the plant-based products out there, and kind of switch them into your diet and add them slowly. You don't have to, no one's trying to tell you to go vegan. In my book, I don't criticize anyone. Everyone is on their own journey. I fully respect how people eat, and I do not force my beliefs or my diet onto anyone. I'm here just to show you that plant-based food, can actually taste amazing and is also, as you know, good for you. So
Well, are you big on forgiveness? I mean, for example, if I slip a fish, a little tuna, perhaps, um, is that okay? Would you forgive me for that, or must I never tell you?
I would forgive you, Jay. I would forgive you, Jay, but only unless you promise that you will try my vegan ahi recipe, which is in the book.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that. You know, you're a chef, and you have been talking about vegan recipes on your show for a long time, and you never seem to run out of them. And the food that you brought into the studio has always been exquisite, really, oh no. And I wonder if it takes a professional chef to do these recipes. Do I need a degree in biochemistry to execute your recipes? Is it just as easy as other recipes that are not vegan, or does it require special training and skill?
Mhm. That's actually a very good point and a good question you bring up. And the answer is quite simply, whether you are 9 years old or 90 years old, whether you're a kitchen newbie or a novice chef or a trained professional, you can pull off these recipes very, very easily. And I've made sure that the only cooking devices I use really is the stovetop and the oven. I don't use any other fancy gadgets. I don't use any fancy ingredients. In my book, I have actually at the end of the book, towards the back, I did add a whole glossary section and a section for substitutes. So the book is more than just it's more than just a recipe book. It takes you through the ins and outs of the vegan diet lifestyle, how to stock your vegan pantry, which brings me back to the question of whether it is doable for the average home cook. And my answer is absolutely yes. And I think that's what people are going to enjoy about this book, that it really is a friendly, approachable way of eating. All of the ingredients, I tell you exactly where you can buy them, especially in Hawaii. It's all there in the book. You don't have to look anywhere else. You can also see most of the recipe videos on my YouTube channel, Lillian Cumic, where I have over 200 recipe videos. My social media, Jay, I will never run out of recipes.
I
I'm a
know.
recipe developer, so it's my passion, and one that I get the chance to share on my ThinkTech Hawaii show, Lillian's Vegan World. And it's just the book is just another extension of this passion of mine, and I'm truly, truly excited that I got to
Go
do it here.
Tech. And you can go on ThinkTech, especially YouTube channel, youtube.com/ThinkTech Hawaii. And then you can look for the playlist on Lillian's Vegan World. And there are virtually hundreds of shows there all about, these vegan recipes. It's really worth doing that. But I want to ask you about, why you wrote this book. You have so many other ways of expressing veganism. Why also the book?
Actually, the opportunity came to me. I was very blessed. There was a local publishing company here, Mutual Publishing, who did release the book, and who I did actually sign a contract with. They were looking to do a vegan cookbook, and I happened to be at the right place at the right time. Last year, I was featured on the cover of the Crave magazine in the Star Advertiser, actually for my vegan cheeses. And the publishing house did see that particular edition, and that's how it all started. I always knew in my heart that someday I would, in fact, write a book. It was always a dream of mine, and given this crazy year with the pandemic, COVID-19, I am so blessed and honored to be here in Hawaii. It's like a American dream.
Oh, Lillian, you're wonderful. So, that was Bennett Heimer, wasn't it? Mutual Publishing? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I want to just point out that this is not only a recipe book, as you said, it's a reference book. And to go further than that, it's almost authoritative. It is authoritative. There's an index in this book. Lets you find anything you want in this book. With your various recipes, it's really something that is useful in every kitchen and for everybody who wants to explore, experiment, discover new kinds of food experiences. And the photographs are really outstanding. So it's a work of art, is what I want to say. It's a work of art.
Thank you, Jay. Well, I actually didn't know that I can take photos because I took 90% of the photos in the book.
Perfect.
So I learned so much writing this book. It was just an exciting year writing it, and then getting it 10 months later. The book took about almost 1 year, about 10 months from beginning to end. And once I unboxed it and got my very first copy, it was the most exciting moment in my career, I must say. And having it out there, it's ready to hit stores all over Hawaii. Actually, it's going to be in Barnes and Noble, Costco, Longs have approved it. How long it takes to get there, we don't know, but the military stores are already carrying it. You can order the book on Amazon directly through the publisher, Mutual Publishing. So you will also be supporting a local publishing house when you buy this book, which is the other, wonderful thing about it, supporting Hawaiian local products. So I do hope that everyone, tries to grab a copy.
Well, I have a couple of reactions. That one is the perfect time at Christmas to get on Amazon or otherwise mail order the book to your friends for a gift. This is really a very sweet and personal gift. It's a gift that everybody, there's a place for it in everyone's home, even if you're not totally perfectly vegan all the time. Even if you have to rely on Lillian's forgiveness, you can you can still have this book, and
Well,
you can still give this book.
Well, the wonderful thing about this book, Jay, is I am calling it like a coffee table book. It's such a like visually stunning book. I think it does, as you say, make a great gift for people who love Hawaii. Of course, for people who are here living in Hawaii, but it definitely is a tribute to Hawaii, not only to the Hawaiian food, but I talk about Hawaii throughout the book. And again, I've learned so much about Hawaii. Uh, I have Polynesian roots. My mother is from Fiji, so I did grow up and recognize a lot of the food here. So it's just a really fun read, and
Well,
I can't wait to get it out there.
it's very clear that this book is, and your efforts in general, it's not limited to this book, is an intersection between vegan style eating and also Hawaii. It connects the two. In fact, I think it will have a long-term effect that people will associate vegan and Hawaii. Here we are, we're into agriculture, we're into pure food, we're into, sort of a genuineness in our food. This perfectly fits that. Yeah, Lillian. So, my wife and me, we eat better now, and maybe we get more regular exercise now, and we have more quality time now. It's a time when I notice that all my friends are trying to shape up their lives. COVID is a time to, make all your New Year's resolutions come true. and one of them is better eating. It's very interesting. And that's why this book is so appropriate right now, because it's part of the whole thing about cleaning up your act. Are you getting reaction like that from your readers?
I am, absolutely, yes. I am getting that reaction and feedback. And what you said is so true. I think people are starting to appreciate their surroundings more, whether that be, their environment, the way they eat, the people they live with, their families. Everyone is becoming more aware of everything, basically. And I think that's fantastic. We have to embrace this change in the world and just make it a better place for us to be in. And one way to do that is by, as you just said, cleaning up your health. The healthier you feel, the better you are, the better you react to people around you, the happier you are, the happier people around you shall be. So it's a win-win situation. And I'm very excited that this book has come at a time when people are looking for change, and maybe the plant-based diet is going to be a big part of that change, I think.
I agree with you. And I think that what it leads to is a better frame of mind. If your body is more in harmony, and I think veganism does that, and vegetarianism too does that, not so many animal fats, your body is in better shape, and you're therefore in better shape. So it's a perfect time for that. COVID has had some strange, reaction in the community, in our quality of life, like it or not. So as a question came in, and I always want to respect viewer questions. And the question from the viewer is, from your experience, how receptive are children to vegan recipes? Children, the Carta Blanca, presumably they don't have bias, and they're willing to try new things. Are they in case of vegan foods?
Thank you to the viewer for the question. I I don't have children, so I cannot speak from experience. But if I may suggest that I think children are more adaptable than we think, and children absolutely take on the personality of their parents. If the parents are walking around saying vegan food is this, vegan food, oh, vegan food, I hate vegan food, then be sure that the children are going to just soak all of that in and be exactly the same. When you are open to change, you are open to trying new things, your children are going to be exactly the same and follow suit. And I think it's wonderful to see that parents are trying to educate their children, change the way that they are eating as well. I think very important to start a healthy diet from a young age so that you can carry it on and maintain it throughout your years. And then you're able to enjoy the golden years, which is what we all want to do.
Yeah,
We want to be
and
healthy at the end of
decent
it.
health. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
I think I told you once upon a time that I was involved in the Ornish program. And it's a health program. It includes, among other things, vegan eating. And they teach you, show you recipes, show you how to cook, whatnot. They give you meals that are vegan 2, 3 times a week. It's very healthy. It's very impressive, and it leaves a mark on you, that you were exposed to that sort of thing. And what the only thing wrong with the program is it stops. If you could go on your whole life doing the Ornish program, you'd be happy. But one of the things that I took out of that, and we should talk about this, is if you walk down the aisle in the average supermarket, you are surrounded with deadly foods. You are surrounded with foods you should be very, very careful about. The American diet, the customary diet, all kinds of stuff that's injurious to your health. And the Ornish program showed you to be careful about that, to to watch everything, to read the labels, to see it all as a minefield. And this is very healthy to do this because ultimately, although you can shop very carefully for all the ingredients that are in your book, you still have to walk down that aisle and hear the sirens, calling you to the wrong foods. What's your thought about that?
Well, doesn't life exist on temptation? So we are just wired that way. We are tempted by so many things in life, whether it be food, people, love, lust, anything. And food just happens to be one of those things that people can become addicted to. Food tastes good. It's something that we all look forward to doing. Eating is that time when the body just gets nourished, it gets spoiled. So to deprive yourself and restrict yourself to a diet which is just not maintainable is a waste of time, in my opinion. That's why in the book I do talk about calorie counting and how I think it's a waste of time. It's an old-fashioned way of thinking about food and health. I never count calories, but most vegans don't actually. And one thing I must tell you about the book is that it is not a book for people who are on a diet, who don't want to consume sugar, oil, fat, salt, because all of those things are included in the book. But what the thing about plant-based food is, it is doable for a very, very, very long time. And if you can change your eating habits to the point where you can still enjoy food that tastes good, that does contain oil, salt, and sugar, along with regular exercise, getting out, getting some fresh air, well-being in general is a very important part of health, not only food. But don't restrict yourself to a diet that is just ridiculous to the point where you're never ever going to be able to do it for the rest of your life.
Well, I have the book here, and I saw chocolate Kahlua pudding in there, and I saw there was sugar, oil, salt, things that Ornish would discourage you from eating. And yet, in this case, here we are, and it's plant-based for sure. It's not a violation of the rules you articulated before, Lillian. And that sort of emancipates me that I can have those things. So it's liberating to read the ingredients you've included, and I wondered, how you feel about those things that have sugar and salt in them and oil. And I also wanted to ask you, what are your favorite recipes? There's a lot of recipes in here, and you must have favorites that you do more often than others. So can you talk about that?
Okay. First of all, just let me address the oil, salt, and sugar issue. You need to follow your common sense when you're eating, and that means you're fully aware that you cannot eat desserts all day every day. They are meant to be a treat, not meant to be eaten even on a daily basis. But I eat sweets every now and again, definitely not daily, but whenever I get that craving, I do. I have a kind of a different eating habit because I fast for 20 to 22 hours a day. So it's a little bit different for me. So yeah, everything in moderation. Just use your common sense when it comes to eating. You know what you have to do. You know that you can't wake up and start eating chocolate cake for breakfast every day. So as long as enjoy the recipes in moderation. You can also tweak any of the recipes. I mention that constantly throughout the book. If you're not consuming oil, just omit it. You know what you need to do. If you're on a gluten-free diet, then you definitely have to change and adjust some of the ingredients according to the restrictions that you have. So yeah, at the end of the day, you have to enjoy life and you have to enjoy food. And this book is by all means not a book for the dieter or someone who wants to eat raw vegan food. It's just not. It's a tribute to Hawaiian food that is found in Hawaii, And all I want to tell you in this book is that vegan food tastes better than people think.
Oh yeah, I've had it many times, and you're absolutely right about that. And you tend to savor it, which is fairly important. You have to appreciate food, and somehow the vegan ritual, the vegan experience, helps you savor it. And I know that your technique of fasting through a good part of the day also helps you to savor the food, to appreciate it all the more, and train your body to appreciate it. So, do you discuss that in the book, Lillian, about fasting and not eating all day long?
Mm. I do not actually. I didn't want to try and bring too much of my personal diet into the book. Rather, keep it more open, keep it more broad minded. I do talk about intermittent fasting on my show on the ThinkTech Hawaii Lillian's Vegan World for people who might be more interested in trying an intermittent fasting lifestyle. It's worked for me. And the one thing that I find about fasting is that your thoughts are not consumed all day about food. I think about food a few hours a day, that's it. And, for the rest of the time, I'm enjoying life, I'm working, doing what I have to do. And it's not all about, this obsession with food and what I'm going to eat and, stuff like that. Although one would think the opposite given what I do. But yeah, food is definitely something I enjoy, but nothing that I'm obsessed with.
Ah, interesting. So, I still want to ask you about your favorite recipes, but before I do that, so a lot of people, present company included, are compulsive about eating while they're working and all. And are there vegan recipes, you know, vegan foods and treats and the like that you can eat without breaking the rules, even in a compulsive fashion?
Mm. Definitely. I think I, a lot of people are finding the breakfast section. I've named the breakfast section a chapter in the book, Breaking the Fast, which is exactly what it is. When you break the fast, I think this is definitely the most important time for your body, and what you put into it is very important. Now, I do want to say I enjoy a mimosa when I break the fast every now and again for a special occasion, but I don't do that every day by any means. Um, so a lot of the breakfast dishes are really good. There's some tortilla recipes, there's a Hawaiian fried rice recipe which is really great. And when I want to talk about some of my favorite recipes, Jay, and link that to this question now. But because of my 30 years in Japan, where I started my career, I was in the food industry for 20 years. I owned and was head chef of my own dining bar there for 10 of those years. So I have learned how to get umami, which is called the fifth taste, the savory taste into food. And that comes from things like shiitake and kombu, shiitake mushrooms, dried kombu seaweed. So anything with those umami flavors, I love. Things like simple things like a miso soup. Miso soup is everywhere here because we are so influenced by the Japanese culture. And when I make miso soup, although it's a very simple dish, people can't believe how good it tastes because the ingredients or the way that I make it, it's very authentic, very savory, and just delicious. So I definitely love the Japanese flavors. And honestly, because I am vegan, anything in Hawaii, Hawaii truly is a vegan paradise for me. We have so much fresh produce here. We have farmers markets several times a week, which, by the way, I have been invited this Saturday to the farmers market in Kakako to do a meet and greet. I will be selling the book and doing a book signing there from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. So if you're local and you're here on Oahu, please do stop by and say aloha. I would love to meet you all.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So glad you're successful in this. You're the kind of person
Mhm.
we want to be successful because you
Thank
provide
you.
so much nutrition to, I mean, in every sense of the word. So I asked you to identify a paragraph in the book so we could sort of feel, the prose and feel the way you write, the way you, express yourself. Could you do that for us, Lillian? Could you read a paragraph that helps us understand the essence of the book?
I'd be honored to, Jay. So, this is actually the introduction to the book, and I start the book by writing, vegan or not, kitchen newbie or five-star chef. This is a cookbook for any household looking to eat more healthfully and for the average home cook. Don't let your partner fool you into believing they can't cook so they can escape kitchen duty. I wrote this for my husband because my husband swears he can't cook, and I'm on to him. I know any chef is going to tell you that their partners claim they cannot cook. So it is, yeah, it's a tribute to traditional Hawaiian food. There is something for everyone in this family-friendly book featuring plant-based recipes that will satisfy everyone at the table, both vegans and omnivores. So that's how the book starts, and that is, I think, exactly where I'm rolling with this book. It is for everyone. You do not have to be vegan to be able to enjoy it. You just have to be someone who likes to eat food. That's it.
Well, I have a last question I want to ask you, Lillian. So you've lived a vegan life for a long time. You've had a restaurant or a food bar, you called it, in Japan, specialized in vegan food. You've been doing not only the show on ThinkTech, but lots of other things. Have a website with recipes and the like. And you've done this book. But where do you go from here? What is left on the road to realize your destiny in vegan Hawaii and vegan world?
Well, if you're here in Hawaii, you'll see me appear somewhere very special in December. I can't say too much about it, but where the road leads, no one knows. All I know is I'm on the right path, following my passion, helping people change their lives and their diet in a good way, and that's all that I wish and hope to do for now, and save some animals along the way.
Yeah, and indeed, it's building a better environment and thus a better world. And what could be finer than following your passion and focusing on all positive things, all nutritious things? So I admire you very greatly for that. And I hope you continue it and expand it. And ThinkTech is around to support you and help you and wish you well in every particular, Lillian.
Thank you so much, Jay. It's an honor being part of the ThinkTech Hawaii team. And because of my show with ThinkTech Hawaii, so many good things have happened. And, this web that's formed, this American dream that I'm living, I honestly owe a lot of it to my show and to the support that I get from you and the team there. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Lillian. It's great to be around you. And I like the notion of the vegan dream. You might consider that for your next book, Realizing the Vegan Dream.
I like it. You're good at naming things. You named my show Lillian's Vegan World, so I will take that into consideration for sure.
Please do. Thank you so much, Lillian. Wonderful to have you. Lillian Cumic, our host on ThinkTech, and now an author of a very, very beautiful cookbook. And we hope it has all the success in the world.
Mahalo. Thank you so much, Jay.
Aloha, Lillian.